my name is Notepad Anon, and I write games for fun, but we're not looking at a game today. We're looking at three different games. Three very odd games based off franchises I don't know about. Now, you may be wondering, what spurred this? What made me want to do this curious case on these various games? And the answer is Bionicle drama. I really wish I was lying, but it's based entirely off of Bionicle drama and the oddities of it, because the Bionicle fan community is apparently going strong. It was introduced to me by a member of the consortium that there is a Bionicle fan RPG called the Crimson Box. And looking deeper into the Crimson Box, I realized it is a monster, and I needed to do an investigation on it. However, the problem is, despite the fact that game is 310 pages long, there was nothing actually really to talk about. Insurgency in the Bionicle fandom? Maybe? I don't know. Judging from what I heard from them, including a quote insider end quote, there's drama with a capital D in the Bionicle fandom and the Bionicle community, which is still going strong, by the way. And the birth of the Crimson Box, the game we'll be covering, is entirely based on that, with the main writer, his name goes by Lahari, I believe, being a central figure in that drama, capital D drama. So I wanted to take a look at that. I thought it would be interesting to look around and see what the big deal is. And when we get to that game, we will quickly understand that pain pecco is the only phrase we can really get. However, I realize that outside the fact that this is a 309-page document, here, let me bring up the PDF files. Outside the fact that this is a 309-page document, yeah, there are 309 goddamn pages of this, there is actually not much to talk about. And I'll get to that one when I get to the bonkles. But outside of all of this, there's actually not much to actually speak on, because it's a mess. This game is a complete disaster area of just ideas and concepts, which when I get to it, it'll be a little bit easier to kind of summarize. So what I needed to do is I needed to find different franchises, things I didn't understand. So I did the only thing I could have. I went on the trove. Trolled around for a bit, tried to find weird little things. And I found two games that I think really got my noggin jogging. Just things I don't quite understand, but I wanted to learn more about it. And third video here calls out the first one. Danmaku Yuugi Flowers, a tabletop RPG rulebook about Touhou. And it's a very fascinating game and very colorful. Very colorful. And I don't understand Touhou. Like, I will be the first one to say, I make fun of it quite often. You know, I joke about Touhou things. I've played, like, I think 2 of the games. But I don't know Touhou very well. So I found this. I'm like, well, obviously I need to review this nightmare, because I find it amusing. Somewhat Stone. You make jokes, saying, throw handfuls of dice at the players, and if they dodge, they win. You joke, but that's not entirely wrong. I did only a quick glance through of this one, just because I'm like, what is, I like, my eyes physically hurt reading this, so we're suffering together with this one. The final one, we're going over boats. Hopefully y'all like Kancolle. Yeah, remember Kancolle? I remember Kancolle. Kancolle is a franchise based around boat girls, about girls who happen to be boats or boats that happen to be girls. I want you all to deal with that. Now, Kancolle's been somewhat eclipsed by Azra Lane, which takes up strangely the same niche of girls who happen to be boats and boats that happen to be girls. Yeah, no, how do you think I felt? I literally, like, opened this book, and this is the first image that pops up with me. I'm just like, you know what? I've lost all sense of right or wrong. We're going in. But yeah, no, we're gonna start with the Kancolle RPG, so Twitch doesn't ban me. So if the stream goes offline, you know, the Twitch police have found me. So what is Kancolle? What is Kancolle? Let me see if I can remember all my hotkeys. Oh no. Nope, that's not it. No, you cannot use this to run Girls Frontline. I do know for a fact, though, there is a game based around girls who happen to be guns somewhere, and people have been trying to adapt ops and tactics to it forever for some reason, which I still need to yell at Sweet Soul Bro to do. Give me one moment as my computer has a stroke as it attempts to do it. So let's okay, go away, computer, please. So let's go. Let's review Kancolle real fast. So Kancolle, let's see, the Kantai collection. No, it's Kancolle for short. Is it 2015? Oh, actually, no, that's incorrect. I damn well know because my friend played the game back in the day. Let's see. The Fleet Collection. Fleet Girls Collection. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Name the same game. It's a web browser game. Came out. When did this game come out? This game came out in 2013. And it's a web browser game about collecting boats. And as you can tell, there's a small franchise here. Now, one of my favorite parts about this is this little chart right here, which is things. This is back in, God, what was this, about 2015? Yeah, as you can kind of see, there's a lot of Kancolle stuff, even more than things like Idol Master and Attack on Titan back in 2015. Only thing that beat it was the Touhou project. I don't know if you're noticing a trend here. Yeah, it's a very odd game. Tabletop RPGs. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the one we're reviewing. Right here, baby. Oh, God. There's more of these. Oh, no, I didn't know there were more. You know how much I actually know about this franchise. But yeah, the entire idea is there are girls who happen to be boats. Actually, let's see. In a world where humanity faces the threat of the abyssal fleet which has taken over the seas, special human girls who don weaponized outfits and possess the spirits of historical naval vessels known as Kanmusu, fleet girls or ship girls, are the only ones capable of countering them. Why they're only girls? Who the fuck knows? The Kanmusu live together in a naval base where they spend their everyday lives, begin training for battle. The destroyer Fubuki is the main character. That's a... Why is the Fubuki class? Oh yeah, Daojin stuff. It's always Daojin stuff. Of course it is. But we're not here for... Actually, wait a second. Come on, where's the key? There we go. Haha, I found the right key to actually turn this on and off. My numpad wasn't on. So this is the Kancolle RPG, and it was by this man. Actually, if we look right here, we open up our handy-dandy Notepad document. Let's... The Toshiro Kawashima and / the Adventure Planning Service, as well as the Kancolle Managerial Naval Base. You're saying that, Stone. You're saying that, but you're gonna quickly realize that that's exactly what we're dealing with here. So let's look at what Toshiro has actually done. Now, this is where things get a little bit weird. I actually Googled this guy, Toshiro Kawashima, and it's like, okay, what's he done? What's his thing? And you notice here, this is the Amazon page. Wow, there's a lot of games here. Wow, there's a lot of games here, including Miyuku Kingdom. There's a lot of these games that he's done. He's done an absurd number of games, like a lot more than you would traditionally think of. And it's kind of that odd situation. Like, this man definitely has influence over the scene there, which is kind of an interesting thing. He's definitely a writer. I think he's not a Chronica guy at all. I don't think so, at least. But he's been doing a lot of games, and he has a lot of different games over there that not many have been translated or even fan-translated. The Kancolle one is a unique one because it's one of the few that actually has been translated. I believe parts of Miyuku Kingdom have been, but I didn't even recognize any of the other ones. And it looks like he also did Shinomogami. This one. No, I don't care. Go away. Shinobigami, which actually, if we look here, did pretty damn well for itself. This was actually on Kickstarter, if I remember correctly, which is a very odd game, which, honestly, one of these days I will do the Japanese RPGs, look into them. But yeah, he wrote this one, the Modern Ninja Battle RPG. Very interesting. Let's see, and this is his company. No, this isn't. And this is, I think, one of the translator companies that taking over everything. But he's written quite a few different games, which I find fascinating. That he also wrote this, the Kancolle RPG. Now, let's go through it a little bit, and you'll understand some of the oddities. This is a very Japanese game, and I've gone over kind of what Japanese games are like previously, but one of the key things to kind of take away from it is that these games are very different than what we would traditionally think tabletop RPGs are like. They're very different from that because of the situation Japan is in, and they like their D6s. They love their D6s. 2, they usually focus on, like, one-shots. Yeah, RNG cubes, yeah. And they actually do it a very weird way in this game. And once we get to that, you'll kind of understand. But they also like things like this. Event cards, naval base record sheets, fleet sheets, tokens. They love that kind of stuff. And they also have the D66, which I have never seen in any other game outside of a Japanese RPG. You roll 2 D6s and read the results literally. You get numbers from 11 to 66. It's very odd, but I like it. And look at this is the other very odd thing. You don't really make your own characters. Sort of. So, each ship girl basic information consists of her level, her name, her classification, and her supply affinity. Because that's a thing you need to have. And you also get some odd things with, like, the name. Your name. This is obviously the ship girl's name. In addition to her name, each ship girl will also have a ship class number. Ship girls of the same class are connected to each other much like sisters. You can think of ship girls with lower ship number as being like the older sisters. This becomes important, and it gets sillier. And then we have our various classifications, from destroyers to full-on battleships. They actually even have rules for carriers. Extensive rules for carriers. Probably one of the odder mechanics in here is actually the supply affinity system. Pretty much, it's the relationship between Ship Girl and the different resource types. By using naval-based stocks to resupply themselves, Ship Girls can restore their spent energy. Simple. However, you have 4 different kinds of energies, and every single one of those different kinds of energies have different recovery rates to different classes. So it's like destroyers can get 1 point of energy from fuel, gunpowder, steel, but they can't get anything from bauxite. Might recover 1 point. Okay, I read that wrong. So the triangles and circles aren't different. You also get things like carriers can't use gunpowder. Like, alright, heavy cruisers, like, alright. But you have to restore energy using supplies. I'm like, that's normally not too weird. It's just kind of like, alright, this is getting a little bit weird. Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that. I thought this was, I must have misread this because it's the exact same rule. I think there's edits when we get to abilities, but we'll get to that. And you have your stats. You may be already seeing, man, Notepad, there's a lot of stats and stuff here. I'm like, oh, look at all the traits. Oh, wowzers. These traits look pretty interesting, and all these combat ratings. What do they all mean? I don't know. They don't really tell you. Which leads to the trait situations. It's possible. Okay, so traits are your abilities, but your traits are very odd. And we'll get to that in a second. But so pretty much all your traits are divided into merits and defects. If they're a merit, they're good. If they're a defect, you can use them and result in a number of different events occurring. Defect may represent something the Ship Girl is unskilled at, or something which she has an excessive negative preoccupation. What this means? It doesn't really say. You'll quickly realize that this book is 95% Ship Girls and little else. So, like, alright, okay, our background traits. All our traits. What is this? What do all these mean? Like, there's no stats or anything, so I guess kind of pick whatever I want? Yes. So all of these are your traits, which are kind of like your skills. And by skills, these are the things that you actually determine how difficult a role is going to be, based entirely off of this. So you could be skilled at shopping and technically be better off than if you were better at anti-submarine warfare. Why? Who knows? And let's see, energy representation, how much fuel a Ship Girl consumes. Ship Girl. Spend energy to re-roll checks and acquire new traits. Energy value becomes a Ship Girl description, the maximum value. If your energy falls to 0, you become inoperative. What does this mean? I have no idea. Kancolle is weird and does not... Nowhere throughout this book does it really give you the Kancolle experience. It's just like, these are... You should know this already. I'm like, I don't. Oh no. This game is also incredibly goddamn lethal. You take like two big hits, you're fucked. You know, you take 3 hits, you're double screwed. You take 4, you're dead. Things go really bad really quickly in these games, but that's naval warfare in general. So we have our abilities, weapon equipment, special effects under circumstances, inherent abilities. And you got, we can't forget about our relationship scores and items and reactions. Now we're going to get to the characters. Now, during this time, you may have realized, Notepad, how do I make a character? And the answer is, you don't. You don't make a character. There is actually no rules for making your very own character. What you have to do is take one of these characters and edit as appropriate. This is another very Japanese thing. Japanese RPGs really enjoy, I wouldn't say don't want you to make your own characters, but they like to front load character creation. They want you to be able to hop into the game and play as fast as you feel like, because that's something that you enjoy. That's something they enjoy you doing. They don't want you spending time outside of the game learning it. They're like, all right, here's game, here's your sheet, here's everything you need to know about it, go. So, I'm just going to go through. We also have the reaction table. I love the reaction table. So, what do you think the reaction table is? You may be wondering. The answer is, are responses that a ship girl might give to various situations. Whenever the player or the admiral feels that the ship girl should deliver a line, you may roll in the reaction table to choose a reaction at random. There is a literal bark mechanic from a game being like, oh no, we could totally do this. That's a bark mechanic. Why is the reaction table here? Who knows? But yeah, you can roll a d6 and that's the line you say. All right, fleet, form up on me. Yeah, roll to RP. I think. See, this is also another one of those odd things with this game. Because you get things like this. You know, the power of the big 7. And only if you have the Nagato can you actually use it. Whenever you score a special on a firing check, increase firepower of the attack by an additional 2 points. Only she has this. That is it. She's the only one who does. Yeah, don't question it. I still don't get how it is. There's Stonebeard. I don't get it. But here's the Congo. And one thing you'll notice, I want to look at the combat ratings here. These combat ratings are the exact same as the... Actually, let me see. So, we have these fire ratings. This is Congo Battleship 1. And Nagato. Alright. So let's go down a little bit. Oh, it's Congo's class battleship number 3. 13311-8. 13311-8. These are the exact same character outside of the starting traits. And then you get things like, oh, this is fine. But again, these are all like the same character. Same battleship type. And they all have the same attributes. Which, this got me thinking. Is this how you actually... I do. It's my shitpost VTuber. I use it exclusively so I can shitpost on VT. That's literally why it is. Why it's here. Because I find it amusing. And I can put hashtag ENVTuber on everything I tweet to get those mad views. But, yeah, here's the Kirishima. Congo. Here's the Akagi. And this is one of those weird, it's like, yes, how could we forget? The Akagi class standard carrier. Or the Kaga class standard carrier. And all these different standard carriers. And I came to the realization, you're not supposed to make your own characters. You're not really, there's no rules for assigning combat ratings. There's no rules for, choosing what starting traits or anything like that, or specializations or abilities. What you're supposed to do is take one of these characters. Let's say the Kirishima. We're going to call, we'll call her something different, obviously. But we'll take this girl, change the name, keep the attributes, and that. That is how you make a new character in this game. By taking an existing one and doing that. I can make fun of VTubers all day. I am one. But this is the thing that it fascinates me about this game, because this is actually some interesting ideas. Like, the guy who wrote this, Mr. What's his fucking Kawashima-san, definitely knows what the fuck he's doing. Like, he replicated the games very well. Problem is, he replicated the games. And I hope you all like your carriers. He does like his carriers. Don't forget to make reaction rolls. Or whatever the hell this is. And my thing is, like, are there people who probably adore Kancolle and would be all over this shit? Hell yeah, they'd be over it. Be like, heck yeah, I could finally make my very own ship girl waifu. And this is great. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, I don't get this. Like, I guess she's kind of cool looking. She has the trait cool. Like, she has to be. Look. It has to be cool. I mean, I'd waifu the Muko class heavy cruiser number 4 Aguro. Come on. This one even has inbuilt cannons. It's great. I mean, look, it's the Taco class heavy cruiser. So what I'm getting at here is that if I want to make my... Oh, everyone point and laugh at the start thinking that there are American cruisers in this game. Let me actually see. Is it Kancolle that has the Iowa? Yeah. Here's the Iowa. If I can click on the right thing. Yeah, here's the Iowa. Let me see. Is it the Kancolle has the vampire, I believe. Yeah, the HMS Her Majesty's ship. His Majesty's ship, the Vampire. You can technically make American ships in this game. You can, install democracy forcefully. You can sink the Yamato, but they want to focus on the Japanese ships, obviously. Is there the Yamato class? There has to be. Kancolle, Yamato. Yeah, Yamato. Okay, yeah, here's the Yamato. I also like it how the fact that the first one you see is the figurine. Yeah, there's the Yamato. She's not actually in this game. You cannot play the Yamato. So, 0 out of 10. Worst game ever. I can't play the Yamato. Yeah, big American missile batteries. And they focus on the Japanese RPG. I'm going to jail now, by the way, for just looking at this image. Like... They focus on the Japanese ones, but there's nothing saying you can't take the Tatsuya and shift that around to fit an American light cruiser or a Asian light, a British light cruiser, a French light cruiser. There's nothing saying you can't do that outside of winging it. I've also noticed that these are definitely from different artists. Because you can kind of see here, the way her face looks is very different from this one. This looks like almost like an anime still. While this one looks, well, whatever the fuck this is. Like, they all look slightly different. And, which is kind of giving me the impression that I don't think this was an official Kancolle RPG. I don't think that the company that did this said, all right, I need a tabletop RPG. I think this was a Doujin game. I think this was and just because of how Japanese copyright law works, they probably got a few Doujin artists. Oh, God. Okay, oh, God. Yeah, there we go. I'll just a Torment Stone using Ship Girl artwork for Shadowrun. I think this was Japanese copyright law, Doujins anyway, are actually very unique. The idea that You can use any piece of media on their front and use it to write your own stories, do your own artwork with, and then you can sell it. I can draw Goku having rigorous gay sex with Vegeta and sell it at a Japanese convention. That's just something I can do. I can draw the Yubari just blowing up in a horrifying amount of gore and death as long as I draw it. I cannot take someone else's work, though, and do it. I cannot just copy-paste other people's work and make slight edits to it. That's a no-no. You can't do that. Which is... You do end up getting interesting things like this. Or this is probably a... Yes, Automod. I'm fine. It's... Now, mind you, Japan also has a few other odd copyright things with it. Like, if you make a goober and you do use something that's a little bit too accurate, they will come down on your head. Like, that's why, like, Nintendo of America... Hey, all I gotta say is thanks, Doc. That's all I gotta say to that, Stone. Thanks, Doc. But you get some interesting bits out of there for that, and that's what actually a lot of those tabletop RPGs come out of. They come out of doujin circles. Oh God, I'm going to jail. It is why? Why do you look so small? Why? Oh no. Oh Lord. Oh, you're not wearing any pants, I don't think. Oh Lord. Oh. Hey everyone, look, it's the Shimikaze. The only reason I know about this is through the ludicrous amount of porn. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, the amount of shit I see on this girl, that's usually a boy. This is usually a boy. But no, this is a girl. In lore, this Shimikaze is a girl. But they never draw. It's never a girl. It never is. So this is where possibly the oddest mechanic is. And I'm not actually going to... The way they have it here is not actually really well set up. So what I have to do is I have to go down, all the way down, to the character sheet. So this is the character sheet. Now, this is your skills. So let's say, for example, I want to do, we want to do an action. Every action is 2d6 plus, it's 2d6. And you have to roll, it's 2d6, and you have to roll higher than 5 plus however far away it is. So, let's say I'm a ship girl, and obviously I need to show someone my communication skills. I need, like right here, my communication skills. However, I'm talking to people. I'm not bombing anyone, so my bombing skill doesn't apply. However, I am composed. So what do I have to roll? Well, each of these counts as a +1 effectively. So, starting at composed, 1, 2, 3. I believe 4. I would have to roll, I would add a +4 to that, because each of these little gaps does count as a +1 effectively. So these gaps are important even. So I would have to roll 2d6 versus a 9 now. And you get some other odd ones, just getting the idea of how large these can get. It's like, oh, my communications and my navigations and my dark past can also apply to my gentle, which also applies to my considerate, which is also my artillery. It's like all of these merge together to form a completely bizarre game that works, kind of. It kind of works. Because it looks like there's a lot here, but truth be told, you're going to have 4 or 5 of these. And that's where all your attributes come from. That is you. Let's see. Yeah, we also have a lot of these. So let's see. So graceful counts as space. If you had serious trait, the target number would be 5. Yeah, serious trait, you can choose the closest trait to serious. So it'd be 1, 2. Yeah, so I am right. It would be 4. It's a very odd system, but it kind of works. If you pretty much, and they have crits and they have fumbles, which you can also technically, if you talk to someone wrong, you can roll an accident causing a massive destruction capability on you. Yeah, welcome to... All I'm saying that if you turn down a girl, there is a chance that she will explode. This is also the other weird one, the Admiral Interference section. Admiral Interference is... The trait you're defaulting to is not appropriate for the action that you are attempting. You may explain how the trait you're using. If the finds it acceptable, check as normal. If not satisfied, you may choose a different trait. Pretty much you can say, no, stop that. And here's... Don't worry, everyone. Here's actually how you make your own character. This section, right here. That's it. That's the only physical way you can make your own character. And then we have the session, which, again, this is a very Japanese way of doing things. You got to prepare everything. Are you active? Are you exhausted? And everything is going to be a one session. We also have our naval base. So let's actually see. Again, you can do everything with 2d6s. That's the one thing about this game I actually quite enjoy. So let's roll our random base a little fast. Okay, we rolled 2 3s. We got 6. So we have the prefix table plus place table plus organization. So our prefix. We roll double 6s. We all roll 6s again. All right. We're the 12th. Place table. Where are we situated? 6 and 5. Let's see. Paramushir. The 12th Paramushir. Where's Paramushir? Oh, are we in the fucking Kurils? I think we might be in the Kurils. Are we going to get bombed by the Russians now? I don't like this. Yeah, no, this is a Russian island. Yeah, no, we're up here. This is where our cool naval base is. All right, let's continue rolling our let's see. We have Paramashir in our organization table. You can see how many goddamn. All right, so 54. Actually, it'd be 45. All right, this is our naval base with the 12th Paramashir Fortress. That's just something we have. Neat. That's it. And I like these kind of things. I actually really enjoy these kind of mechanics that allow people to roll up things and really gets people invested slightly. Because it's like, yeah, I have a naval base now, and this is our home. This is something that we live in, and we live in Paramushir. Why are we in a small Russian island in the north? Who knows? Don't question it. Introducing ship girls. Oh god, we have the fleet name. All right, let's roll. Let's get a fleet name up and running. 24. Actually, we have rolled a 6 again. Prefix, place, team. All right, everyone. We need to go to the prefix table. All right, let's roll. Let's see. We got a 56 again. We're the royal. Oh god, we're gonna be a royal Russian fleet, aren't we? Place. $35. Shortland, Royal Shortland. Let's go to our team table. Very important. Oh god, no, we gotta do the Royal Paramashir. Paramashir. And with our team, we have 44. That means we're investigators. Yeah, we are the Royal Short Bus. And I enjoy this little thing. Like, it has a lot of interesting bits to it. And there's a lot of parts to this game that actually are fascinating to me. It's just a shame it's a Kancolle RPG. And to someone who's gonna like it, it's gonna be great. And then you get things like tea time! You must always make time for tea time. It's time for tea. It's time for tea time. I said tea time too many times. Let's pass some time with quiet grace. Make a lived abroad background 12 check. Success. The scene players recover 6 points of energy, and each other PC recovers 2 points of energy. Each PC loses 2 points of energy. Each PC with a relationship score of 1 or greater towards the scene player places a check mark to the scene player support box and changes their relation type to a random -1. There are random events in this game. I don't know why there are random events. I don't know why there's a random event to sleep. There's a sleeping check. Why is there sleeping a check? It's like this very bizarre thing of just like, here's random things. Like, here's a massage. Girl talk. Refueling. Mail call. New game. Like, it's like, what is this? What is this fucking game? And I enjoy that idea. It's like such a bizarre game. Surprisingly not. It is not just a reflavored made game. The idea behind this is to literally get the anime feeling of like the cute girls doing cute things, except the cute girls are ships and the things are whatever the fuck this is. And it's like, here's events. Like, it's literally a random event deck that's interesting. And you get like, oh, here's development, here's more equipment. Events, fleet battles. The entire section has like, oh, how do we sign up for the fight? Like, how do we, are we doing a head-on engagement? Are we crossing the T advantage, crossing the T disadvantage? Rough sea, it's like you have all these different things, which like, this is a naval game. That just happens to be about anime. Like, honestly, like, strictly speaking, this is probably one of the best naval combat systems I've seen. Because it's entirely focused on that. There's nothing else. This game isn't about anything else other than here's boat-on-boat combat. And it's deadly. It's dangerous. You just happen to be kawaii doki doki anime girls. Don't question it. The more you question it, the worse things get. The thing is, it's perfectly a functional game. It's an odd game, but functional. And there is apparently more to this. However, this is the only thing that's really been here. Like, this is like the only thing that I've really been able to find on it outside some like fan things. But game is rough. Like, game doesn't get fuck around. Like, my friend played Kancolle, and he even said like the game does not fuck around. Like, it's which kind of further encourages my my theory on why a lot of these cute girls doing cute things games and things get made. It's not because it's weird or wacky, it's because I want to do something, I like this thing, I want to explore it with other people. But yeah, that's kind of my summary of this. It's cool. There's a lot of interesting bits with it. All the artwork, all the, being able to die for your country via bombing. throwing yourself headlong into it. Machine gun nests, autocannons. Like, obviously people care about this stuff. And there are rules for just about everything. And it's interesting. It fascinates me. And they also always have a scenario at the end. Just because there's passion behind this. And I enjoy that. I enjoy games with a lot of passion behind them. Which brings me to the second game. What are you confused about, Destara? Hit me. Yes. Well, yeah, it's... The thing is, if you apply it to this logic, I want to make I want to do a thing. I want to do a thing that is based on something I feel passionate about. I can't get it anywhere. No one's going to pick this shit up because it's something I'm passionate about and no one else. You slide forward the little manila folder, your manager or whatever slides forward a little manila folder being like this. I'm like, oh, we just make everything anime girls. Yeah, you're a ship autist. You love boats. You love naval stuff. You love all of it. Well, there just happen to be anime girls. Don't question it. And now we get to Danmaku Yuugi Flowers. Touhou. Touhou. Toot Hoot. A worldwide sensation of possibly the most bizarre thing available. Touhou is interesting. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to be honest. Touhou, Toot Hoot is a bizarre game that is a bullet hell, but the creator Zune has effectively said, go for it. Anything you want to do with it, it's yours. And it's kind of the epitome of kind of Japanese doujin culture, because he said, do whatever the hell you want with it. You want to write books on it? Write some books. You want to write some music based on it? Go for it. You want to do your own fan games based on it? Go for it. The only thing he has never done is allow an anime of it. And I think that's because normal people can't make anime that easily. But there's still fan animations. You can find Touhou stuff everywhere. There are more Touhou doujins out there than anything you can think of. Doujin games, doujin comics, hentai doujins, non-hentai doujins, remove armpit fetish porn. Like, it exists. It's out there. There's entire sublores. And people have compared me to Zune, because apparently he is an autist who writes everything when he's shit-faced drunk. So, that's admirable, I think. So, what is this? Thank you. It's... yeah. And you make games, go for it. The entire idea is that this is you become a denizen of Gensokyo, the terribly mysterious world developed by the Touhou series games by Team Shigai Alice. That has been separated from present-day Japan through a mystical barrier, and run around trying to solve situations and having fun in the process. This will involve negotiating with canon Touhou characters, participating in the bullet curtain battles, which will involve using your very own spell cards, and have a great time with friends in the world of Touhou. So, this game is actually kind of interesting. So if I go all the way down, where do we? There we go. So this game came out actually in 2008. So this game is about 13 years old, which kind of gives you an idea how old actually Touhou is in general. Now, the writer, it says representative. I don't want Ace Combat lore. No, you can't bring me back. I don't want to feel sad again. So, this is the writer. Tapanu. Chupadoo. And this is his Pivix. And this is what he does. Like, he is part of the Touhou fan community in more ways than one. And this is all of his various works. And you can kind of see here, this is his baby. This is something that he really enjoys making. And there is actually a second edition. Second Blooming. However, this game is not translated. Now, this one came out in 2010. This is 2 years later. Have I been able to find this game at all? Absolutely not. Would it be cool if I could find it? Yeah, probably. But you can kind of see, like, I like his artwork. His artwork is very, we'll call it evocative, if anything. But again, this is another Doujin series that he's done. You can even kind of see extra boss attacks, you know, all the different dice values and stuff like that. Like, this is his passion. This is his hobby. So, now that we kind of have the idea is, and this is also, you gotta remember, completely actually printed. This is a company printed this, and you can tell who the translators are. Touhou Gamer, Iced Fairy, Nameless Fairy, Touhou Gamer, Mizuko, Gnome! Like, it's like, what the fuck? The Touhou fan community is, we'll call them dedicated, if anything. It does. I'm not gonna lie, Stone. I'm not gonna lie. It does sound like a Yuri hentai. Is there probably a Touhou, you know, Yuri hentai with that name? Probably. But one thing you're probably already noticing right now is that this game is somewhat painful to look at. And I actually asked around about it. You know, what is the thing? What is the thing with this game? And a lot of people said that it's actually unplayable. And to a degree, I almost agree. There's a lot of stuff going on. My favorite thing is, what is an RPG? And his description of what an avatar is. An avatar is a character that represents you inside of a fantasy imaginary world. The Mii's on Nintendo Wii, Yahoo My Caras, and characters like Pangia and Ragnarok Online are all basically avatars. You can definitely tell this was a Japanese game. You're like, how do you explain being a player character to people who play video games exclusively? Kind of weird. It's a different perception of things. And a lot of the 6-sided dice. Like the race sub-style right in the rest of your character sheet. Alright. Character creation. It's pretty damn easy. Mostly because none of it really matters. So we have our sample character cards here. So now this is all also completely translated, so things are going to get weird. That's half the feeling usually. Here's our, so the language of flowers. Okay, here's one of our characters. Here's our sample character. I believe this is Cerno? That has to be Cerno. No, Roll Rosa. A fan character, very different. We got our basic abilities, we have our basic attack range, and our inherent skills, our mutterings. This is just things that people enjoy. Our attack ranges. You're playing a Touhou game. I hate to break it to everyone. With this, you are playing a Touhou game. for better or for worse. And people are going to enjoy it or they're not going to enjoy it very much. There's no in between. I don't understand it. Because I don't. So let's, main styles, weapons, equipment were explained in previous pages. Let's see. 10 experience points. General skills. Procedure. Our flower card. Choose one with natural abilities on your sheet. Our race card. Bonus points. Our Danmaku score. Our dodge score. Record our speed score. Our weapon. Record our HP. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I think you can kind of see that. Because you need a lot of this stuff. Mostly when you consider you have demons, fairies, yokai, ghosts, and humans. We had our main flower cards. Which is... It gets interesting. Now, here's the thing. It gets very fascinating when you take these ideas and merge them all together. You end up with these. And from what I gathered from people in the Japanese tabletop RPG community, this is not really a game to play. All of this is really fun and nice and, kind of a pat on the back kind of thing. But you're not supposed to do that. This is supposed to make your very own OC feel like they're a part of the world. Here's their weapon. Yeah, here's your spell card. Of course I got a flowers. Or Touhou now. And every single part of this game has parts to it. And here's specific skills. Here's and then we also have our general skills. Which is like, what? And like, there's just a lot to take in here, and unfortunately, it's not translated well. You get some parts that are like hospitality. Like, this is nice, I guess. It just looks a little bit odd, and obviously, you can kind of tell by the edges here. This was scanned. Someone bought the book, brought it over, scanned it, and uploaded it, and then someone translated it from there. So some things. Well, sometimes you get things like this. This makes no sense. Would a full-on translation help this game? Maybe. Maybe. But I think that kind of takes away from it. You may be wondering, what the hell do I mean by taking away from it? What I mean is that the jank is what makes Touhou games work. And every single type of these, all the action cards, all the ranges, that's the point. It's supposed to be weird. It makes sense for people who enjoy Touhou games. It's for people who are in. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense for people who are in. Do I care? Absolutely not. I don't understand a single bit of this. Yeah, there's a flowchart for what you have to roll. Like, okay then. Like, why is it here? I don't know. It was written by a fan. Written by someone who cares. A lot. And here's our freaking battle system. You have to... Anima is its own beautiful disaster area we'll get to one day. But yeah, like here's the flower stage. You literally have to play a bullet shooter. You have to position yourself, you play down your cards, you shoot out bullets, and you're trying to literally dance around your opponent just as much as they're trying to dance around you. It's completely bizarre. You even get things like rock, paper, scissors mechanics. This is entirely unique. This is an entirely unique experience. You will never get a game that encourages you to play a literal bullet hell shooter for combat, where you can... Yes, they did, Distara. This is a bullet hell game. This is Touhou, baby. This is what you do. You bake your spell cards and then shit starts flying across the board. And it works. I think that's the bizarre thing. It's a weird, bizarre game that you sit back and you're like, what the fuck? The fuck am I looking at? It's a it's a bullet hell tabletop game. And that's what people say is like, it's not really playable. It's a very bizarre, it's a unique concept. But maybe that's all you need. Honestly, think about it. Maybe that's all you need in a game. It's unique. It's fascinating. It's different. They could have had just a basic combat system, but they didn't. This is entirely made by themselves. It's not SRS. This isn't based on anything else. This is them. This is something that they made themselves and they care about. You also get things like, oh, here's all the residents of Gensokyo that have now been translated. I believe that's Rimu. Rimu, Marissa. I don't know the rest of them. Is the rat in here? Do we have the rat? I know the rat. That's Cherno or Cerno or Crino? I don't know. I don't know, Touhou. But it's entirely fascinating that you... Human reaction table. Yeah! Ah, running. Scary. Do not want. What? Is that a ghost? Ah, this is unscientific. Ergo impossible. Now which way's home? It is fated. We are to... It is fated. We are to become family. My, this is not good. Also, you have to read this as it's correctly in Japanese, which is ara ara, is this not good? Ara ara. What? A toy for now, a snack when I get bored. Let's make it... What is this? What is this chart? Why does this exist? What is going on? I love this. We got our divisions of the year, our birth charts. Ara ara, ara ara, this ara kun. Like, it's a bizarre... Oh, yeah, here's Marissa. Yeah, I was right. But, like, it's a bizarre game. But also, yeah, copy and cut out. Yeah, you were literally supposed to cut out your very own spell cards. We have the flower sheet. Like, I think this game is a fascinating thing. Because I like weird games. I've always been a fan of strange and mysterious things that I don't understand fully. Now, that was one of the reasons I even started the Curious Cases. Games I don't fully understand. Games I don't fully get. Even games that I'm confident other people haven't heard of. And I'm interested in them. And I like them. This game made a bullet hell game in a tabletop. What other game have you ever heard to do something like that? None of them. Because it's retarded. This is stupid. Bullet hell and tabletop? What? That sounds stupid. Asinine. Bizarre even. But they did. Again, yeah, I respect it. I want to play it, but I respect it. That's what I'm curious about a second edition. That came out 2 years later, because obviously there's enough fan support to actually get it. And I'm curious to see what it is. Because I'm always one to find new things. And that's why on my Discord server I have the submissions opened up. I like it when people send me weird things. I'm still hunting down for some games. I still need to find Dragons in America because I want to find it, because I find it weird. I like weird games. I like strange things that get made because I want to share it with other people. But then we get things like our next game, The Crimson Box. Ooh, okie dokie then. Let's get to The Crimson Box. Now, I was ready for this. I don't know if I am ready for this. I really don't. I really don't know. I'm going to warn everyone right off the bat here. This is what the game looks like. There's no formatting. There's no anything. It's a Google Doc. A very painful, very white Google document. And there are 309 pages of this fucking Google document. I've been slamming on my keyboard the entire time, and I've successfully made it halfway through this thing. So, we need a little bit of context, don't we? We need a little bit of context. Bionicles. Bionicles. How do you summarize Bionicles? So let's Google it. Bionicles. Give me the Wikipedia article here, baby. Come on. So, the line launched in 2000. Following decades, Lego's biggest selling properties, turning it into a franchise and playing a part in saving the company from financial crisis in the late 90s. Despite a planned 20-year tenure, the theme was discontinued in 2010, but rebooted in 2015 for further 2 years. Alright, seems simple enough. But things were getting odd. Look at it. Now, my thing is, Bonkles, yes. I did not actually believe Bonkle lore. I always thought it was a meme. I always thought Bionicle lore was kind of a joke in its own way. The joke being, look at this, look at this franchise that's clearly a franchise built around you buying toys, and look at the deep and exciting lore of it. Ha ha ha, everybody's laughing. But, oh boy, was I wrong. Bionicle lore is pretty damn deep. There's timelines, there's different characters, there's people who are other people. Everything takes place in a giant robot, but not in the giant robot. The main characters are superpowered, but they don't have superpowers. Everything is technically a part of its own ecosystem. There's also aliens. There's also other aliens. It goes a lot deeper than I originally thought. There, Stone. But I always thought it was a joke. That was the joke, the funny. Yeah, no, that was the funny though. The idea was look at franchise and its quote deep lore end quote buy toys. Yeah, exactly. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I did, but I get it now. However, you may be noticing when I said the line ended in 2010 and the reboot lasted till 2016. Minimum, that's 5 years without Bonkles content. It's 5 years without Bonkles content and over a decade. Over a decade since the mainline Generation 1 Bonkles came out. But you want to know what's still kicking? The Bionicle fan community. Now, I need to kind of address what I know, what I've kind of fished up over time. And one of the consortium members actually introduced me to an individual who will remain nameless, who kind of showed me, kind of explained some of the intricacies of the Bionicle fan community. That being that there were divisions, there were people in places of power, quote unquote, that abused that power and kind of fractured the community in half almost. And one of those members said, I'm going to make my own Bionicle fan community with blackjack and hookers. That being our boy here, Lahari. Lahari is, from what I've gathered, a fascinating creature. Very interesting. And I will call them ambitious. Very ambitious. So let's... How do I want to... how do I want to do this? So, this is Red Star Games. Red Star Games is the company, fan site, people who did this. And generally speaking, these guys have been expanding on things for a while. They really like their... they like Bionicles. Now, we also have a Patreon. Of course, we have a Patreon. Also, I have a Patreon. Give me money. But these guys aren't really making much. $20 a month, 15 patrons, $1.50, $1.50 for some, most $1. Not exactly a lot of money. However, things get a little bit odder. Because they've got three games. They have Dobra Nui, which is the Crimson Box. This is, yeah. Originally released 2018. You will have to remember, I have the latest version. And what I mean by the latest version, that is the latest. So, and then we have the content expansions. Now, I want to just go through them with you. And I want you all to realize that these are all expansion books. Every single one of these is books that are add things, that bring in new things, that are different and odd. And you quickly will begin to realize that there's a lot. And it's errata on top of errata, and things are different. And you have the nastiest little thing that you can ever have in a game. The nastiest little part. The worst kind of thing you can physically have in a game. Otherwise known as, this is the game. All of this is the game. Every single one of these plays its own important aspect. This came out on the 31st. Like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it doesn't like the site very much. Trying to load everything. And this is all for one game. We're just going to look at the main one. Here's the Baranui G1 tabletop horror game. All of these, of course. Every single one of these obviously has a different amount of rules and idea with the war game. Why the fuck do we have a war game? Heroes of the Star, Bionicle G2 D12. Base tabletop role-playing game. Rules light. I actually looked at this one. Then we have The Forge. Hey everyone. You like Bonkles masks? You too can buy your own Bonkles masks. Right here, Red Star Forge. Every single one of them. You can buy your very own masks. And of course, they're not just one mask. Oh, no. They're just one mask. Nope, every single one of these. I know, this is just versatile plastic. Let's... Oh, I want the nickel steel, polished nickel steel. Oh, wow, look, $44. We're Tiny Mask. And we're beginning, and I think you can probably see, we got all the maps. Now, this is the oddest bit, the part that really gets the noggin jogging, if you catch my drift, Reno. And that noggin jogging moment is Shadow of the Colosseum. Shadow of the Colosseum was their game. They were going to run a game. They're going to make it a big thing back in 2018, I believe. And they had video introductions for everyone. They had personalities. They had issues. They had parts. And if we even look here, 2 years ago, this is 2019, late 2019, early 2019. Every single one of these is animated. You have personalities. It's like 3 years ago, Red Star Chronicles, Red Star Rises. These were supposed to be a Critical Role game. And this is one of my nasty little things in the back of my head, what I think was going to happen here, is they intended to make a franchise based off of Bionicle fan lore. And from what I've gathered from the insider source, quote unquote, that was almost the plan. They wanted to make this big. They wanted to go big. Ambition was what they had. They wanted things like an Office. However, you may be wondering, Notepad, we saw the YouTube video. Where's the game? They obviously have the game. Did they stream it? The game never took off. The game floundered miserably and died. Died without a hope of survival. And you may be wondering why. Well, that was an old version of this. Dobra Nui. The game itself. Now, I could go into some of the things that Lahari has said, or some of the fan background, but that's not my place. If you want to learn more about that, you can probably find some videos, or you can find other things, read articles on it. I'm here to look at this game, and this was the cornerstone of their endeavors. The entire thing was based around this game. The tabletop game was, from the insider's perspective and others, the focal point. Now, you may be wondering, what is this game, Notepad? What is it? Well, it's a D20 game. All right. It's a D20 game inspired by 3.5. All right. It's a D20 game inspired by 3.5 and 5e. Okay, and with its own custom homebrew content. Now, you may be wondering why I'm saving this for last. You may be wondering why I am waiting for it at the end. And the main reason is there isn't actually much to talk about. There is a lot of stuff here. You have attributes. Basic D20. You have your skill points, but the skill points are pretty stupid because there's a lot of them. But then you have things like the super type system. I actually kind of like this system. I think the idea behind it's good. The problem is it's in a 3.5.5 edition game that has no identity, and it's struggling to pretend it does. There's no formatting in this game. This game is damn near impossible to actually read. And mind you, this isn't without all the content expansions, which you need to play, by the way, or without any of the additional parts opened up. So because, like, to give you an idea, in the basic download, these are all of the parts that you need to actually play the game. Every single one of these is a part of the game in some way. And yes, is the character sheet 5 pages long? Yes, it is 5 pages long. Why? Why is there you have these charges, you have your armor class, but armor class is based off of the location, because there's locational armor in this system, and limb-based health. But there's also max HP, your hit die, your initiative, your speed, your temporary HP. We can't forget about your reflex, will, and fortitude saves. Oh, did you remember to calculate your elemental points correctly? Man, make sure you also calculate your armor class correctly, your flat-foot armor class correctly, your touch armor class, your combat moves, and your combat maneuver bonuses. You have remembered all that, right? And also, you have every mask has a certain amount of charges on it, of course. So you have your primary Kanoi mask, and then you have your secondary Kanoi mask. All of them have different charges, mind you. And then you have your archetype, your super archetype, which then allows you to have sub archetypes, which you can multi-class into those archetypes to level up your super archetype, which gives separate abilities. But also your background influences, your race influences things, your tribe influences things. I think you're all beginning to see what I mean by this game. It's massive. It's insanity of how large this game is. And it's bizarre. It's insanity. There's a 70-page, effectively, monster manual. With no artwork, no anything, poorly formatted. It's literally just copy-pasted. There's just that much. The GM guide is 106 pages of, oh, here's all the different floors. And apparently, from what I've gathered, they also want to flesh out the entire of the old city. And you also get things like this. Because the main thing what they want to do with this entire game is that they want to make a Bonkles game first. And that Bonkles game is big. They want to make everything lore accurate. And they want to make everything exactly the way it was and everything on top of that. Anyone with half a goddamn brain can probably see this is a bad idea. And it's a bad idea for 2 very distinct reasons. Bonkles is huge. There's a lot of stuff here. They want to put in everything. Every single thing in this game has purpose. The Touhou, the main protagonists of the game and the world itself, the Touhou. You have all the different elemental subtypes, which you have to choose where you came from. And it's like, wait, all of my elemental power, this is just the basic character section. And, then you have the primary elements, which again give you completely different attributes, which give you completely different abilities that are cool. Some of these are actually pretty interesting, but like here, the tribal passive effect. Fire's combustive nature reflects on the Touhou's fire attacks. Whenever your elemental powers deal fire damage to a target, the target must make a reflex save or be lit on fire for 1d4 rounds. This is damage over time. Dot effect that deals 1d4 damage per round. If they are already on fire, increase the size of the current flames damage die by 1 step. Example, 1d4 to 1d6, 1d8, etc. And increase the duration of the dot by 1 round. A creature that is on fire may spend AP to reduce the remaining duration of the dot's effect. They may spend any number of AP or reduce the duration by twice that many rounds. Damage from dot effects does not trigger this ability. That is the passive. We're not dealing with the AoE tables. We're not dealing with the elemental armor tables, which every single Touhou has. We're not dealing with the water tables, which bring up a completely different amount of passives, which bring up air, more different passives. I think you can understand where I'm coming from when I say this game is an impenetrable nightmare to go through. It's a thick and crunchy game that is damn near impossible to successfully get through. What, you don't like bonkles? Alright, Bionicles. There, are you happy? But you're seeing there's a lot of parts to this game, and every single part has its own piece and different rules and different parts, and every single thing has its different pieces to it. You know, it's and everything's based off size. So Matorans, the little basic guys, the Matorans are smaller than the Toa, but the Toa of certain categories can be in higher or lower size categories, because size categories are a thing. And, you know, you have skills. Look at all these skills. Cool. Wow, look, all of these cool things. Every single one of these does something different. And all of them are formatted like this, and I hate it. I want to format this game for them because it's awful. I hate it. It's the thing is, it's not even they're not even like well thought out tables. It's just these thick, like shower of fist-sized stones rain down. All creatures within the area must make a reflex saving throw. On a failure, they suffer 1d6 d4 damage. Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be shot. And on a success, they suffer half as much. If a creature fails their save by 5 or more, a random piece of armor is the quality is reduced by 1, and the damage ground of the area is considered difficult terrain until cleared and repaired. That is AoE 1. Let's go to AoE 5. As a shower of boulders rain down, all creatures within the area must make a reflex saving throw, and on a failure, they suffer 1d12, d10 damage and are knocked prone. On a successful, they suffer half as much from being knocked prone. If a creature fails their save by 3 or more, 1d4 random pieces of armor have been quality reduced by 1. The same piece can now be affected multiple times. The damage ground within the area is considered difficult terrain until cleared and repaired. One ability. And if you notice, we're on page 36. And what I mean by 3.5, because the math in the skill system and all that is based off of 3.5. However, they also have aspects of 5th edition in there. In my 5th edition, they have advantage rolls. They have I just saw it. I'm having a stroke now. Notepad is losing his mind. Oh yeah, they have the proficiency systems. They have things like they have all of these different bonuses from both games, and the math kind of supposes 3.5, but also 5e at the same time. There's also an action point system on top of everything. Why? Because you can. Poorly, laid out. Like, this is almost impossible to read just because it's like, oh boy. And then you get things like use Kanoi. Which, one of the things I despise about any game is skills that do other things other than their skill. Skill is used when a character attempts to access the powers of their Kanoi for the first time and refers to the strength of their concentration and use of its abilities. Investing skill points in this skill increases your Kanoi charge total. The calculation for Toa total Kanoi charges is your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency modifier if proficient in the use Kanoi skill and any ranks in the use Kanoi skill. This is a fundamental part of the game right here. But it's also painful. Background. Every single one of these has different proficiencies, different knowledges, different things about them. Hey, I'm an inventor, I'm a blacksmith. This is, I think, the only game currently, the only game that I know of currently that allows you to, let me see, where is it? That allows you to, again, to have a background as a city planner. And also one, where is the really amusing one that I love? You can also be a politician hero, that you can do. Very important that you can, in fact, be a politician. A war profiteer. You can also be an extortionist, a minor crime lord, a slaver. Yeah, this is, I think, the only game where the heroes can technically be a slaver as a good guy, and I find that very amusing. And you get a proficiency in being a slaver. You get intimidation and piloting out of it. It's like, all right. Now, here's one of the parts I actually enjoy. I enjoy the super type and archetype system. I think this is some good ideas here. Shame it's in this game. Because, and I'm going to explain this the best I can. So, every super type, why is it called super type? I don't know. Every super type has a number of archetypes under it. And you select whatever your super type is. And that means you can also have multiple archetypes of different levels, reflecting a total super type level. That's a good idea. This is a really interesting idea. I like this. It's interesting. It's cool. Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, you have the Beastmaster, which, again, here's all your Rahi companion rules. Fuck. 3 super type levels, attack bonus. And here's your different levels. Here's your different archetypes. I can be a Cavalier, which all has different levels of it. Monster Slayer, Rahi Enthusiast, Rahi Tamer. Okay, that's 4. The issue, if you can probably see it, is that, again, there are more fucking rules on top of rules, on top of everything. We haven't even hit combat yet. We haven't even hit the chunk of the game yet. We're still on character creation, man. Who thought this was a good idea? Like, these things are huge. Like, you can be a MASH technician. You can be a sages. You can specialize in deflecting, being shield, being a warden, my super type is a diplomat. I'm a Machiavelli. Why are you a Machiavelli? Why is that a thing? Why is a master of disguise in here? Why? It's like, you can be a merchant. My biggest problem with this game, kind of like, in summary, I think a pretty good idea of what this game is self-indulgent. It is a game about the writers looking at it and being just like, guys, we need to add more. Obviously, people are going to want to be a merchant. Obviously. Guys, you don't understand. We need the performer super type class. You don't. You don't need this entire area. You don't need the Machiavelli archetype. You don't need half of these things. But they kept adding it because they felt like they wanted it. Because again, we needed everything in the game. We want everything. We want every single part of this game to be represented in one way or another. And yeah, everyone's going to love it. It's going to be great. It's going to be the greatest game ever that we've ever designed, ever. But you have to ask yourself, why has no one else done this before? The answer is, because it's a bad design. Cut it down. Get a scalpel in there and start cutting the chafe off. You don't need all these rules. You don't need 1,000 different things for this. Because again, I'm just going through right now. Because Kanohi Fires is different from the Melees. And all of these have different rules on top of each other. And the rules on top of the rules on top of the rules on top of the rules. And then there's also feats, because of course there's feats. Because why wouldn't there be feats? But these follow more in line with the 5e perception of feats. It's like, oh boy. But you get some, it's like, oh. But when so your question of, okay, well, merchant is a fun class. But I want to counter that. I want to counter that, because to some people, I might be seeing like, well, why? Because these things sound fun. We are playing this is a Bionicle game. A game about fucking Bionicles. This isn't, if this was Warhammer Fantasy, this was a grim and dark kind of fantasy game, I'm in. That seems fun. One of my favorite characters I ever played was a Warhammer Fantasy, and he was a fucking fisher. He was fun to play because he was in over his head, but he was also kind of that, like, oh well, I kind of know what I'm doing. I got my fishing knife. I'm gonna fucking fight I'm gonna fight a goddamn goblin now. He was fun because he felt like a person in this world trying to survive. You were playing Bionicles. You were playing the Touhou, these incredibly powerful individuals. So having all of these classes and have all these archetypes and abilities, it seems self-indulgent. Something that is detrimental to the game in its detrimental to the game as a whole, rather than just simply well, this isn't a very good idea. It bogs everything else down, because you got to assume now the merchant's in there. You got to assume the Machiavelli's in there. You got to assume all these feats have rules on top of them. And mind you, these are just the commander rules. Oh, you also get perks too, which perks increase your attributes and give you different abilities. Here's your ability score damage. Concealment, concentration, damage reduction to X, dual wielding rules, movement speed, but mind you, all the different, every single different size of character, because there are multiple sizes of characters. Because mind you, this is just one. This is just the Touhou, not the Matoran, not the Makuta, not the other 50,000 other fucking races in this goddamn setting, which are included, mind you. If you open up the expansion book, you'll be able to find them. I do not want to get the expansion book because I'm looking at what the product is here. And all of these rules just stack on top of each other. And it's like, here's the time. Here's the different, methods of prices. Why is this in here? Why is a lifestyle system in this game? Now you may be wondering, well, Notepad, obviously. Lifestyle is an important part of, of adventuring games. We want to know, okay, on downtime, how am I living? The problem is, you are, let me re-emphasize, the fucking Touhou. You are... To a degree, I get what you're saying there, Stone, the idea of the counterpoint. The Touhou seem like Lego exalted, so it makes sense that there can be those non-combat dudes who gain this larger destiny. To a degree. I will give you that. My one thing there is, this is not exalted. My one part there. Exalted has room for diplomatic characters, has room for sorcerer kings, of great armorers, of all these different kinds of characters. And those characters make sense in the world, but they still fulfill their duties. Hell, an exalted character I actually enjoyed. I read about him. He was a blacksmith, a Dawn-cast blacksmith. He had no combat ability. He was terrible at combat, but he maintained everyone's equipment, and he was just this tank of a man. All of these parts feel like it's... My biggest problem with the Crimson Box in total is that it wants to do everything. It wants to be Lego Shadowrun. It wants to be Lego Exalted. It wants to be Lego Bionicle. It wants to do everything. That's why there's an extensive Rahi training system in place. That's the reason why every single mask, canon or not, is included. And it's one of those games that you need. Games like this need a scalpel in them. They need someone to manage them. Focus it down. We want to play the Touhou, we're going to play the Touhou. That's what we're going to do. You don't need some of these things. You don't need everything. That's fine. Focus. Games like this need that. It needs a fine tip point to do it. And one of the reasons I chose the other two games, including this one, is for that point. The Crimson Box does not have focus. While the other two games, Danmaku Flowers and Kancolle even, they did a very specific thing, and they emulated it perfectly. We want to make a bullet hell game, a tabletop game. Cool, they did it. I want to make a ship girl game. Cool, they did it. They want to do a lot here. And they don't have the system necessary for it. It's a 3.5 game. Yeah. Now, mind you, this isn't the optional content even yet. There are books upon books of optional content. And probably if you would add everything up together, you'd have a 600-page rulebook. Easy. And all of it's formatted like this. And all of them are slightly different versions with slightly different ideas on top of them. And you get things that you don't really need to do. Even things like this. Like, fun fact, I like this AP combat system. I think it's a good idea. It has some interesting parts to it. Like, yeah, the idea that, some actions only require 1 AP, others require multiple AP, attack takes 2. That really gives you some options to play around with. And that's cool. I like that. It gets you a little bit more excited. A character can do 2 things at a turn. It's kind of that Pathfinder-esque system. I believe it was Pathfinder 2e that introduced some of the ideas like this. iPhone. But you get all these different abilities, and I was like, oh, make sure you remember your combat maneuvers. Make sure you remember all your... Again, this is the break limb action. There's an entire set of actions for breaking limbs. Or, like, coup de grace, performing first aid, quick repairs, sundering a target. And then we get damage, which is entirely based off damage reduction, and also limb system. And also the fact that you have to make all of your different I don't know yet. I'll get to the point I might yoink. But there's an entire system for coming up with your own elemental attack powers. Every single one of these has a different amount of things that allow you to take for. And that's cool. Like, that's the oddest thing about this game. There are a lot of cool parts. And I like those parts. It's like, hey, here's an entire system dedicated to making your elemental ability, your own very own elemental abilities. Yeah, it's an AoE, it's a beam, it's a blast, it's a bolt, it's a bomb, it's a elemental strike, it's a feint, it's all these different things. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. It's interesting. It gives meat to this game. But it's always kind of being held back by the system they chose. It's 3.5, 5e, with Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Hello, Elsa. Hello, Elson Dragoon. We are going over the Crimson Box and slowly losing my mind. And where was it? Again, like, I enjoy things like this. I think it's a good idea. all these different calculations, all these different parts. But then it's the currency section. And then you get this. In another game, I would love this. In any other system, I would love this. The problem is, it's this one. There is a custom armor system where every single part of your body has plates, have pistons, have bionicle parts on them. Because you're bionicles. And that's, I like this, but it's like, oh, it affects your armor class. And it affects your flat foot and your combat maneuver AC. And it's like, oh, okay then. It's kind of, you get that little awkward smile like, oh, cool, here's a neat idea that I enjoy. Let me kick you in the dick now. I'm like, no. I don't want to get kicked in the dick. I like these ideas. I like this equipment armor system. Because it's cool. It gives you a lot of inspiration for things. Like, yeah, do I want heavy plates? Do I want medium plates? Do I want, be able to get hit easier, but I have, tougher armor? Is that what I want to do? And that's not even dealing with, like, where you get all the mods. Every single mask you can mod to do different things. Why do you need these? This is the little voice option. Little voice. A microphone, speaker, radio, transceiver combination, often configured with the microphone mounted near the mouth or jaw of the mask. The speaker is configured near one of the ears region of the mask. The radio transceiver configured in the location that would offer the least interference with the other equipment the wearer is holding, typically near the top rear of the skull. Yeah, you're kind of getting it, Dragon. It's super fun to read and think about and less to play. It's not even really fun to read because it's completely unformatted and very painful. But, like, you don't need a literal paragraph to describe to us, hey, here's a little thing that allows you to shift your radio frequency. Why the fuck do we have radio frequencies in the Bionicle game? Like, you don't need that. Yeah, I'm going to pitch my voice up. I'm going to talk to my friends over here. We all have, like, mask radios. Cool. But do we need Odeon, 10 kilometers or 1 kilometer of high-frequency radio brand, Hagen, Nyarhan, same as Hagen, but the network supported by this little voice unit is encrypted in other little voice units of the lower quality. Exactly. It's Shadowrun gear mod. You don't need Shadowrun in this 3.5 game. Shadowrun works because it has that gear autism. It allows me to take my gun and put put the scope on there. It's got a silencer. It's got a red dot sight. It's got the extended mag on it. It's got a rear guard, and I bullpupped it, and have all these cool things on it. It's like, this is my gun. This is my baby girl, and I love her, and she's my favorite thing ever. This is Bionicles. And this isn't even anything. You get things like basics like visors, environmental visors. You get a HUD, vehicle HUD, which you get a USB. Now, all of these have mechanics tied to them. All of them have cost ornate widgets, which are pretty much, if roughly speaking, an ornate widget is worth 100 basic currency. This is 4,000 basic currency, where you're not really expected to have that much, I think. I don't know. Why do you have a heads-up display for artillery? You don't need it. Why do you have a particle filter? Why do you have a liquid projector? Like, you don't need these. Oh, we can't forget, there's also completely cosmetic ones. Grill style, window style, stitch, facial hair, eye patches, blanked, kinder eyes, coppering, silvering, gilding, metaling, color lenses, custom config. Where's the RGB one? Paint jobs, helmet styles, RGB lighting. And Destara, I think you nailed it right on the head. This is like asking a writer who's clearly overexcited to talk about their ideas to start explaining their lore. And that was it. And you're completely correct, Nelson Dragon. There's no gameplay scenario for this. What occurred from the insider, quote unquote insider, was they wanted to add everything. It was, I believe, if I were to be a conspiratorial soul, I believe it was a handful of people who got really excited. This was their baby. They wanted to make this the best Bionicle game they could. And they were going to add in everything. Because we need everything. Because, obviously, my Bionicle OC has an eye patch. My Bionicle OC's got silvering on his helmet. And did they actually do these things? Yeah, they did. And we haven't even hit the mask autism yet. But I think that's a summary of this project. It's so dense. It's bulky. There's so much stuff included that you can't play it. Which is amusing because that's why the original campaign fell apart. The campaign they wanted to make into like a critical role kind of thing. And that's what I kind of think was originally, is that there was no rules. This is 0.5. This game came out 2-3 years ago. And this is what they have. 0.5. Or more accurately, 0.5.1. And you look at it, you're like, what? No. Like, there's so much stuff here, but none of that stuff makes any sense. Like, why bother? But then you get, like, these little nuggets of interest. Things I like. The elemental system. That's cool. It's thematic. It works pretty well. And you are right. Honestly, I think that's a part of it there, Dragoon. Maybe you're encouraged to actually build your character out of Lego, and if you use certain bits that you have to pay for it with ornate widgets. Exactly. I believe that they wanted to encourage people to make their own. These were your OCs. These were things that you felt you cared about. And that, yeah, of course, I've got a cool mask that has a bunch of things on it, because it's my character. It's mine. Not yours, not his. Mine. That's cool, I guess. But it's inappropriate for this kind of game. And I've always been a proponent of the idea of every game is unique. Every game has different requirements. Every game has different needs, desires, wants, problems. Shadowrun excels because it has this large list of stuff. Because you need it. Well, you think you need it. Because that's half the fun. It's planning ahead. It's, don't worry, guys, we're going to rig the building. We're going to put on our supersonic detectors so we can detect the sonic waves that they're using to track us. Or, oh, don't worry, I'm going to use my laser bat gas to make sure that we can knock out all the guards without hurting anyone. That's cool. You need rules for all of those things because that's half the fun. Operator doing operator shit. But D&D 5th edition doesn't have limb targeting or anything like that because you don't need it. It's a game about being the heroic knight and striving up to the dragon, and I roll to hit and sling. It's you slashing at someone with your sword. I do 15 damage. I do 20 damage. I dive out of the way of his fire breath or whatever. That's the point. Powered by the Apocalypse has a very limited everything because it's supposed to tell a very specific story with a very specific set of rules. And it serves that purpose and nothing else. The Crimson Box is trying to do everything. I know what you're talking about. It is not Firebrands. It is... I can see it. It's a mech game. I reviewed it. Vincent Baker did a double copy. Son of a bitch. It's going to drive me insane. I hope you know that, Dragoon. But this is the other thing that I really enjoy. Welcome to weapon creation. Yes, every single weapon is actually made of... You have to build every single weapon. I like this system. I like this idea. I like the idea of like, oh, I have a two-handed weapon that charges up and I can climb with it, and it's a, you know, it has a long handle and it has a Konako and a hemorrhage. I like all these things. It's cool. It's interesting. It's thematic. It gives me that feeling of really making my own character. Shame that it's in this game, and it doesn't work because you have to assume this D&D logic to things, where you may say, wow, I got a big two-handed sword and I'm going to slice some monsters in half with it. Well, you're going to do 3d8 damage with it. That it? I spent a lot on this. Can I do more damage? No. Why? No, you do 2d6. You do 3d8 damage. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And there are some which is like, why you... Some of these are like bizarre and like completely unneeded. It's like, oh boy, I have like the heavy. That was almost reviewed. It was almost reviewed, the Ruby RPG. I wanted to hang myself after reading it. Yeah, there's literal weapon building in this game. And it's like weapon heads, your handles, affects the range of it. And there's different components that you can all put together, and every single one of these has different things and different rules on top of different rules. And it's like, oh, it's still going too. They're like, there's an entire section on ranged weapons, and then here's different shields, and then you have to install installation weapons, because if a weapon gets too big, you have to install it on a vehicle or something. And then there's item qualities, which... Why are there... Why is there continental... Well, why is there... Okay, let's actually do a little review. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, actually, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 different... I believe that's the case a little bit, Dragoon, because you have to deal with... You weren't here when we looked at the website, but this is the campaign. They were going to do like a critical role campaign, and every single one of these characters had like a little introduction to it, and all of these guys had personality quirks, and I think a lot of these were built around these original characters having to do anything. Or you have like the members of Beaver House, Bionicle Sector 1, Team Kinoi mask posting. Yeah, like, why is this a thing? It was, let's make some lore and we'll wing it. Now, and that's one of the other odd things they're doing. There's a lot of parts. There's so many of these parts to it that I think that had something to do with it, because originally, according to the insider, when the campaign first started, when they did all the introduction videos, when they did all that, they didn't have a system. None of this was here. There was no system. Because remember, this 2018 is when this was officially released. The campaign earliest is 3 years ago. 3 years ago was 2018. 3 years ago was early, and they wanted to do that with something that was less complete than this. We're talking about point one. That's what they wanted to do, and it's like, no. Something of this size would take months of play testing, of double checking, of triple checking. But no. Stone, if I did not find the Touhou game, I would have been reviewing Ruby, just to give you the idea. Also, here's all the different Kanoka discs, because of course there are fucking Kanoka discs. And all the different charts. Different equipment packs. Oh, you like all the healing equipment. There's also an alchemy system. Why is there an alchemy system in this game? Who knows? Dragoon, you don't understand the deep Bionicle lore. I've been into it. I had to research it. I watched the lore videos. There's literally a 5.5 hour seminar you can watch on Bionicle's lore. Did I watch that? Absolutely not. I watched a bunch of meme videos on it, but like, why is there an alchemy system in this game? Riddle me that. Because someone wanted it. Someone sat down and said, me want alchemy. You don't need alchemy. You don't need it. But we need it now, I guess, and now there's 10, 15 pages dedicated to it. And now, Kanohi masks. Ooh, every single one of these masks have rules associated with them. Every single one of them has different rules, different ideas, different objects. Now, the amusing thing is, they do not actually balance them. Yeah, you may be wondering, what do you mean by they don't balance them? Now, in a normal game, you have objects that are powerful. You have objects that are important. A magic +1 sword is pretty cool. We like that. We like +1s and +2s. No, not this game. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Every single mask. Honestly, if I were to liberate parts. Also, here's all the vehicle and piloting rules, because you need those. All the charts. All the fucking charts. All the conditions. And then the tow code. How much am I planning on stealing or liberally taking from this? Honestly, not much. There's nothing I can really take. What's there, I've either done before or is so tied up in the 3.5, 5 point, thing that it's kind of hard to take. And on Dragoon, you're right. Someone just really likes it. And that's kind of the odd thing with it, because the guys who did it, Red Star Games, wanted to make this game big. This was gonna be the game. They have a Patreon for it. They have a website for it. They were gonna do stuff for it. And I think that's kind of the ultimate tragedy, of this game, is that given longer time developing it, it could have been good. It could be really damn good. But I thought someone was jumping. But that's not the case now, is it? And that's the odd thing about this game. The odd mystery. Why I wanted to do a curious case on it is that this game is a massive chunk of, I'd call it an autism project. And there's nothing wrong with autism projects. Everyone has them. there's always that point where we get really hyper focused on something that we want to do, that we want to make right. You can argue that all of my games are that, and I respect it. I respect anyone who makes those kind of games. The part about this game that bamboozles me, that throws me off a little bit, is that there was such an ambitious start to it. We're gonna make the Bionicle game. We're gonna make the game. I'm ready. Let's do it. This is gonna be the greatest game of all time. You know, it's gonna be flawless. It's gonna be perfect. And we're gonna make the Bionicle game. It's gonna be wonderful and great, and everyone's gonna love it, and everyone's gonna love us, and there's gonna be nothing wrong with it. And ambitious was the only thing I could really say to it. There was stuff upon stuff upon stuff. But that's the odd thing. You want to believe that there's more to it, but there really isn't. Which brings me to another game. Game that I hold dear in my heart, actually. Say hello to Masks of Destiny. Written by SmugCoffeeMan, a fellow of TG. I fucking love this game. Why? Because it's well made. I don't even believe this is the full-on one. It's a very simple D6 system. But you can, right off the bat, you can play Touhou, Taruga, Motorin, starting caps, final caps. And everything about this is there. You want to use it? 86. Different parts to this game, and every single part of this game works. And it's odd, isn't it? You get all the Kanoi masks. You don't need 15 different rules for your different Kanoi masks. Alright, here, let's look at all these different masks. Alright, let's look. This is the Hinagaru. Oh, nope, we don't have Hinagaru in that one. But, like, all of these games are... this entire game is here. You want to buy a new mask? Buy a new mask. You want to have something new here? Cool, have it right here. It's all here. Play whatever you want with it. Different, yeah, here's some different, sizes. Because you're obviously going to want to do that. Here's some different playing the game. Here's all of this stuff is right here. And it works. It's pretty. It's thematic. Every single part of this game is there. It's all you really need. Hey, here's Scotty. You want to hear some new stuff? Here's some optional rules. I want to play the Makuta. There's your rules for Makuta. Right here. I want to play Scotty. There's some... Oh, I want to play a Titan. Don't worry. All of these boss battles, boss abilities, plating rules. Here's the character sheet. 2 pages. And that was written over the course of a few months. And he's still updating it. SmugCoffeeMan is... The man is a tank. I respect him more than anything. Because he's written a few different games. He has the Optimus Prime game. He has the Transformers game. He has the Dragon Ball game. He's got this one. Play this! Play this instead. It does everything that what we just went over, but better. It's faster. It's tighter. You can make those kind of characters. You can make the merchants if you want. It's easy. It takes 5 minutes. You don't need 17 rules for it. You want to be a Rahi handler? Cool. Pick the Rahi handling skill. Done. Good. Gucci. But that's not what they wanted. No. They want to make their own with blackjack and hookers. So anytime someone pitches to you, man, I want to play a Bionicles game, throw them this. Bionicle, Mask of Destiny, SmugCoffeeMan. And I think the in summary of this one is there's a lot of franchises out there. There's a lot of games out there that have different appealing. Yes, he does have a Dragon Ball game. Not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball. Dragon Arts, I believe the game is called. And it's called Dragon Arts, I believe. SmugCoffeeMan Dragon Arts. I think it's the one he has not developed the most. Oh, here's SmugCoffeeMan. I want to follow him. Follow that man, by the way. But yeah, Mask of Destiny, the Bleach game, his Dragon Ball. He's got a Halo one, a Kamen Rider one, Fallout one. He's done all these. Like here is the Dragon Ball one. The Dragon Ball one has not seen much development. I do know that. He kind of wrote that one on a whim. I remember distinctly why he wrote this. There was a thread on TG saying, hey, I want to make a Dragon Ball game. And he's like, all right, I can do that. And he adapted some of his game. But here's all the rules for it. Every single part of it is something that you can do. It does Z, apparently. I used to be Dragon Ball. But yeah, here's techniques, cones, all these different things. Love this man. Give this man credit. Shill him. Give him more money. Give me money. Yeah, SmugCoffeeMan. This man is a tank. But what I'm getting across more than anything is that franchises are something that we care about, obviously. Everyone has their favorite franchise, and it's good to indulge it with your hobbies. Hell, a lot of my games are based on franchises I enjoyed or inspired by. Even Fist of Chaos now is kind of derived from my enjoyment of watching fighting games. I can't play them worth a damn, but I enjoy watching them. I find them interesting. I enjoy the background to things, the mechanics. I also enjoy fighting movies. I enjoy those martial arts movies. I enjoy all those things. But there comes a point where you have to realize that passion is scary. Passion makes you do things. Passion says, I must keep making more and more and more and more. And then it kind of eats away at the core function of it. And I think that's the painful part of it. I think we all like to believe that we can just make whatever we want and everything will be great. But not really. But ultimately speaking, that's kind of my detox of things. It's when you're making a game, when you're creating something you enjoy, remember that you are creating something that even some people may not understand. There's going to be people who are passionate about it, some people who aren't. But when you're making something, remember everyone. You want to introduce people to your hobby. You want someone to enjoy the same things you enjoy. I want to introduce you to the world that I like enjoying. We're going to do it with the medium of game. That's awesome. I like that. That's fun. So that's going to be that for today. That's the curious case of franchises Notepad doesn't know about. with Touhou, Kancolle, and Bunkles. We also went over a little bit of SmugCoffeeMan's games. Give that man love. He is a great human being. Very nice. Overall, what's on the slate for me? Next Monday, we're going to be working on Fists of Chaos some more. We're going to see if I can't get things done there. And we're doing pretty all right. Timing's going pretty well. Depending on how things go, I may actually do a stream tomorrow to get done with Project Inchling, just to wrap that game up so I don't think about it anymore. But overall, things are going good.